can go ahead and get started. So first thing that I want to do is introduce the topic and also introduce the folks that we have on the kind of the panel today. So first of all, for the topic today, we're going to be talking about RevOps and how RevOps and the role is more than just data, more than just numbers, more than just systems. Basically, how you can go outside of kind of reporting systems admin, deliver value through your role in revenue operations. And Melody has some great kind of firsthand experience doing that. Going to share a bunch of stories, a bunch of advice. We've got some slides and some other things that we'll walk through. So excited to do that. Before we get there, we'll do some quick introductions. Myself, I am Matt Volm, CEO and co-founder of RevOps Co-op. RevOps Co-op is a global community of folks who are passionate about revenue operations. We've got almost 9,000 people that are in the community now, 44 different countries that are represented. If you're not in the community already, definitely would encourage you to check us out and join. We put on events like this. We have a newsletter, Slack group, bunch of other stuff that we do. So that is me in a nutshell. And then with me, I have Melody Schwartz, who is the VP of Enablement and Ops at Spiff. Spiff is an official kind of formal partner of RevOps Co-op. They're an incredible kind of modern commission management solution. Definitely encourage you to check them out if you haven't already or if you're not familiar with them. And then I've got Melody here, who, like I said, is the VP of Ops and Enablement. But Melody, would love for you to, one, add anything to that background that I may have missed, and then two, I always like to ask folks to share some kind of fun personal facts with us outside of RevOps and work, so that we can kind of get to know you as a person a little bit better too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Matt. You covered it perfectly. I'll round out the intro with just some fun facts. So these are always a fun thing to pick, but I'm lucky some fun things came top of mind before our webinar today. So I have two things for you. I have two fun facts. The first fun fact is, over the last year or so, I've learned to dry age salami in my kitchen. It's awesome. I highly suggest it, 10 out of 10. The second fun fact I have, heck yeah, Stephanie, I'm with you. I love it. So in addition to that, one of the fun facts that continues to make me chuckle years later is during college, I was obviously an active participant in my public speaking class. And so there was an exercise we ran around impromptu communication or impromptu kind of celebratory speeches. And I was voted by my classmates as most likely to go first on speech day. I wear that proudly in every meeting.
There you go. Someone's got to do it. My main question before we get into the kind of the topic at hand is, what led you to decide to start to dry age salami like that? Did you I don't know, did you see the deli counter at your local grocery store and I wonder how they do that. Let me try it myself.
So there's a Mr. Mel, and Mr. Mel is people call me Mel. So there's Mr. Melody or Mr. Mel in my household, and he's from the East Coast, and so he could not find the proper deli meat that he wanted here out in Los Angeles. And then I think we just bought some salami, and it had a rope on it. So we decided to then just hang it from the kind of kitchen kind of counter. And then one of a sudden we just started to think about how long we'd just want to let it hang out there. And it was actually kind of a cool thing to do. So like most things that we solve for, it arrived from a personal pain for those who've been through some methodologies, but yeah. And then now it's just a regular routine in the house. And I honestly highly suggest it. It is delicious. month, 6 months. It's wonderful.
That's awesome. All right. Well, there you have it, y'all. If whether you want to talk about RevOps, compensation and commission, or dry aging your salami, Melody is the person to go to. So that's awesome. Well, let me kind of pull up our slides here that we'll use as a backdrop for the conversation today. So again, going to be talking about revenue operations, the role, kind of your journey, Melody, to VP of Ops and Enablement on the RevOps side, And we've kind of gone through the introductions, and I think first want to start with kind of a story. So I'll turn it over to you for that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I think, like with most kind of career paths and journeys, we're always kind of aware of, our roles and what our roles will require, 1 month, 3 years, 5 years, whatever time frame down the line. And so I kind of just like to run those kind of performance self-evaluations every now and then, just to kind of think about how my role is growing with the demands of the organization and also with the industry as well. And so from a story perspective, my light bulb moment was back in 2015. And I was working with an organization that was going through a really large infrastructure change. This one happens to be with our CRM, but obviously there were kind of some ancillary kind of projects off of that as well. And so I was beginning to observe a couple of things that were happening that really piqued my interest and continue to stay true today. There was a really nice buttoned up project plan. There was a consulting firm in the building. There was a lot of really just beautiful requirements documents, a lot of really intense project meetings. But it didn't feel like the project was moving forward. And I know the head of revenue operations, I began to build a relationship with him just because I was, more on the enablement side at the time. And he started to share some thoughts around okay, well, I've got this big, project on the hook. There's a lot of zeros attached to the statement of work, but it doesn't feel like the work is getting done. It doesn't feel like we're operating as a team. It doesn't feel like we're coming together to achieve a goal, which is ultimately one of the things you really want to feel and see as a project is moving on. And so, with my kind of training and teamwork lens, he asked me to join the project. And I started to think about how to establish some of that connective tissue and that fabric we needed to feel like the project was getting some legs, both domestically and also globally as well. And so it was really at that moment where I started to realize that the future of operations and the future of revenue operations, it wasn't really a thing at the time, was starting to think about some of the soft skills that are required out of our day-to-day role. So naturally, we're responsible for informing our stakeholders on various topics, whether it's metrics, whether it's, current and future priorities, whether it's things that come up. But, the soft skills became very important, and it still continues to be true as time goes on. And so the slide in front of you, I thought would be an interesting thing because something that I often read in the RevOps co-op is that everyone's got a different kind of path into revenue operations. Some folks come from the finance side, some folks come from the product side. I came in kind of through the enablement side. But I think at the end of the day, it's really important that you're thinking about balancing your skill set in a way that is relevant and productive for your audience. So, on one side, when you're navigating certain initiatives or certain priorities, you want to have the technical skill. You want to be aware of what your current functionality, what your current tech stack does and does not do. You want to understand how to coach members of your team to solve a solution that involves knowledge. Obviously, a key component of revenue operations is to look at your end-to-end either prospect or customer journey at large. So that's some process orientation. And then obviously project management, just keeping everybody either on track or aligned in a way where you feel like you're moving forward to accomplish the goal, where you can look back and say, we're doing good over the last 6 months or so. But I think I've found that the things that get you to be successful with that specialized columns are those kind of interpersonal skills. I kind of came in through the operations function, obviously through enablement, but also, I started my career as an SDR. And so I have a really deep understanding and a level of care about my audience to help them be successful. And I think that's what helps kind of turn on some of the interpersonal skills. So while you're working through and you're building consensus, you want to think about, getting to know your stakeholders. You really want to think about, what is it that they're trying to accomplish? What is it that they're working through that is preventing them from achieving that goal. So it's being able to resourcefully work through some roadblocks that ultimately will help make your stakeholders happy and successful. And then I also think in a very fast-paced profession like ours, just being an entrepreneur and being able to pivot really quickly and toss an idea when you get the sense that it may not be paying the dividends that you would hoped it would. You have to be able to just move very quickly. And I think some of those interpersonal strengths, I continue to work on them every single day, but I do think that those are really important things to embody and balance on a day-to-day level.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, the things that jumped out to me as you were speaking and that we're talking about here are, with revenue operations, no one goes to college and gets a degree in revenue operations, right? So you wind up there through some lens avenue, right? And it typically is based on some specialty that you have, right? Like, oh, hey, like you're really good at this enablement stuff. Hey, you're really good at like CRM and systems administration. Like, hey, you're really good at data and numbers. But no one comes in with expertise in like all of those areas that you need to do to be successful in RevOps. Find your find your path in that makes the most sense for sure. And then take all of those, kind of specialized categories, right, and to be successful in the role, kind of flip them, or look at how they translate into the interpersonal stuff that you've got listed here. So, for example, things like systems administration and like integration, stuff like that. If you're deploying a new tool, if you're building a new integration, don't just focus on, like how you can check the boxes on, say, the requirements so that the tool is like now out there. But think about, well, how are our end users going to be using this? What do I need to do to make them successful? Why is it important that they're successful? Oh, because they're the AEs. They're the ones who close deals. Close deals drive revenue. Revenue growth is great for our business, right? Think about all those tactical things kind of more strategically. And once you do that, you'll start to just, unlock tons of value and start to be looked at as a really huge kind of strategic resource within the company. And I know like kind of my, you talked about the different paths into RevOps, like mine was very much on the like the finance and kind of BizOps side, where like that was just like the area that I owned. And then all of a sudden they were like, well, hey, like we're going to do RevOps. Like, all right, that's under BizOps now. Like you're the only person in BizOps, like you're going to do it. It's like, all right, sweet. I guess I'll just figure this stuff out. I'd never done Salesforce administration before. Like I barely understood the difference between like different object types. But now here I am, and like that's a big part of my job. So the ability to kind of go with the flow is also critically important. And I think kind of you broke it down nicely here in terms of the three kind of buckets that like you need to be successful in operations, business operations, revenue operations. So maybe speak to some of these a little bit, and then we'll get into some specifics too.
Yeah, awesome. And I think, I think these three lanes are important just to, maybe this is something, a refresher, or maybe this is something new, but, on the entrepreneurship kind of point on the last slide is you have to constantly be educating your stakeholders and the organization around what you do to support the organization, your structure, different roles. And so I think, defining what the role does, you build systems and process to drive new behaviors that lead to better business outcomes. And I think when you really own that and embody it, leaders start to come to you for bouncing ideas off of, or just, general requests or larger kind of challenges to work through. And that's obviously what you want, right? So defining the role and then ensuring that you've got a nice charter to kind of run in is always a good thing. This is my favorite saying, and it's not the big that eats the small, it's the fast that eats the slow. I think we're all operating in an environment where there's increasing competitive pressure. There are, the landscape in each one of our respective fields is changing every single day. The different metrics and the different data that's available to us is also, in one moment, maybe conversational intelligence may be an afterthought, but in the next moment, you start to notice that, wow, my conversational intelligence tool is telling me way more than I thought it would. So staying agile with the organization, being aware of what's available to you is very important. I love removing roadblocks. It's just a really good time. And so being aware of what your technology stack can offer you in terms of removing maybe any shorter term roadblocks is really great. And then also prioritizing your roadmap. I think at the end of the day, making your end users happy, in addition to satisfying whatever business requirements that you've got laid out for the organization, is really the most important. And so there are, whatever project that you're thinking about, Matt, to your point around installing an integration, you want to think about the impact that that'll have on your end user, whether it's positive or you have to maybe revisit that one more time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the things that I'll add here before we move on to kind of detail on the first one of defining the role is, like for me, you always need to just like understand whether it's like a scope of work or a requirement stock, like put down on paper somewhere, like what outcomes are you looking to drive, like what are you trying to accomplish, like what's in scope for, call it this job, this role, what are the things I'm trying to do. And then the last two items here on staying agile, one, big bias for action, like kind of person. So whether it's me or people on my team, I always encourage them to fail fast, or go out and try something, because we'll learn from it. And to your point on making the end user kind of happy and removing those roadblocks, a lot of times what I've seen is it's actually, those things that you might do that, I don't know, seem small or are quick to implement or quick to deploy, those can actually have the biggest impact and provide the most value immediately, but also in the long term. And you kind of end up looking back at them, you're like, wow, this thing that I did that, didn't really take a whole lot of time, we didn't put necessarily like a whole lot of thought or planning into, is actually like the thing that's delivering so much value here. So yeah, don't think that you need to be spending tons of time planning and going through a major process in order to deploy something that's going to deliver value. It can be as simple as changing a field from open text to pick list, or just eliminating some the need to click some button in some system. Like that stuff can go a really long way.
Yeah, I'm reminded Matt, kind of a little mantra that I keep in the back of my head is, when you're building something, when you're scoping something, whatever part of the life cycle that you're on, what does my end user need to have a great conversation with the customer? And if whatever you're doing fits into that, maybe it's a handoff from your pre-sales to post-sales team, or maybe it's something that's motivating them to maybe sell that next product, or reach that maybe person that they're trying to bring into the sales process. Whatever your team needs to do to have a great conversation with the prospect or customer should always be your North Star.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. And so let's talk, I guess, a little bit about kind of defining the role, the RevOps role, and kind of what that means to you, what it means to you at Spiff too, and the process you went through to figure that out.
Yeah. So I think at a North Star, it's, building systems and process to drive new behaviors that lead to better business outcomes. And I think I'm on my second year here at Spiff, so maybe I'll speak to a little bit of my own journey here, and I'm happy to kind of break it down as needed. But basically, in my first maybe 6 to 8 months here, I was, in the creation of my role in my department, I should say. I was really focused on listening to my end users and all of my stakeholders to start to build what everybody needed in order to feel like they were supported. So at the end of the day, it was about trust, it was about partnership, it was about transparency across the organization and the creation of the role. Moving forward, and a lot of the kind of project management, either motions or roadmap we have, are around the prospect journey. So whether that's, creating specific work streams across different roles in our sales organization, whether that's a handoff, whether that's how we kind of nestle all the work that we do, working with marketing and customer success and implementation, bringing better data for the sales organization to be able to have those better conversations is really the North Star. So depending what kind of phase you're in, when I first joined, I was just kind of building, but now we're starting to look forward and what we need to do to have the right infrastructure moving forward.
Yep. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think the key there is focusing on, again, like the business outcomes can be especially really easy to, get bogged down in in the details, right? I think Arden kind of cracked a joke on defining the role as you mean there's other options than doing whatever everyone else isn't doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of times can be really easy to get sucked into the technical details of finalizing some integration or deploying some new system or some new tool. But again, the way to really add value as a RevOps pro is obviously having the ability to do those system deployments and those integrations, build all those things out so that technically things are working correctly, but to really be able to do that in a way that drives the business outcomes, and just being able to connect the dots between technical requirements and business outcomes is a really critical skill to have in
Yeah.
RevOps.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about the kind of aligning to performance as well.
Yeah, I think when you're trying to figure out better business outcomes, Matt, to your point, it's making sure that you're helping the organization. I'm going to put this simply: you're helping the organization do better. So whether you're aligning to your organizational goals around, efficiency is a hot one these days. Maybe you've got an enablement program to, zone in on one of the sales KPIs that has been kind of discussed as top of mind for that quarter, whether that's, maybe a competitive win rate or an activity output goal or a process goal that you're trying to implement. And then obviously, it's super important that you're aligning your compensation plan to the outcomes that you're looking for. So whatever that means for you, a common example of this is, selling more product. So maybe you have an incentive for, selling multiple SKUs, either at the front end of the sale or as an expansion opportunity. So you're driving outcomes, but also, that entrepreneurial hat that you have to put on is to make sure that you understand what is expected and what are the goals on the other side. That's also where enablement comes in, right? We just ran an enablement effort around the top of our sales process, and there's everything to improve performance, but obviously changing behaviors and whatever you need to do to change behaviors is important as well. So all of that kind of falls into the performance umbrella. But yes, at the end of the day, you want to ensure that your stakeholders have the tools that they need to carry out whatever goal you've got set forth.
Yeah. And so I think, we talked about it, I guess, on this kind of last slide in terms of, building out systems and processes, ensuring how those align with business outcomes. This is really speaking to the fact that, again, any new tool, any new system, any new process that you roll out needs to be adopted by people, by humans, right? You can't just, click the, deploy button and kind of assume that your job stops there, right? And understand that people are people, right? And they're going to require training. Everyone's going to have different needs. Everyone's going to have different background, different history. Just have some empathy with all of that, and then understand how all that speaks to again those organizational goals that you're ultimately trying to drive. One of the things which I don't know if you necessarily kind of spoke to it was you have obviously compensation and incentives on here. Obviously, you all are kind of experts in the kind of the field. So talk a little bit about that and how that, lines up with, some things on the performance side and how that can be used to drive alignment as well.
Yeah, great question. So I think I'll give you an example. Like, we always say that what you incent your team for drives the behaviors of what you want them to do, right? So there's various levers around that. So maybe that's a, multi-year contract. Maybe that is an incentive for a specific product, or maybe it's an incentive for us to focus either maybe on a certain partner. And so knowing that, you really want to think about backing into your enablement program or your operational program to support that new incentive. So, let's say you're incenting your team to, do more business with one of your partners. Well, that can trickle down in the organization. So let's say it's a that partner, you want to be able to make sure that everyone's got the right account lists, maybe the right tools for any sort of outbound effort, maybe a communication tool for them to discuss with that partner and share accounts. Then, for an enablement program, you really want to think about making sure that everyone is rallied around what are the important things to that partner. What do they sell? Why do they sell it? What problems are they solving? What does their sales process look like? If it's a key partner, I actually really suggest modeling your sales process off of theirs. So that way, when you're account sharing, you're speaking the same language, right? So even just something as simple as changing a compensation incentive can trickle down throughout your organization in a really compelling way. So, whether it's systems or process or training, the power of the right incentive will really do great things for your team.
Yep. All right. So we talked a little bit about kind of defining the role, systems, process, how you can tie that to business outcomes to be successful. Talk a little bit about performance, team performance, how you can't forget about the end user, the people who need to adopt the tools, the systems, the integrations, the processes that you ultimately roll out. And so next, I like the kind of some of the operating cadence stuff that you had in here, because I think this is another great example of where RevOps can help drive that alignment. And I know for me, in my past role, when I was leading, I was VP of BizOps at a kind of growing startup called Ally.io that grew from, I was one of the first 10 employees. Ultimately, they grew to be 300 plus person company, ultimately got bought by Microsoft. One of the first things I did was, try to kind of roll out these, some version of these weekly team meetings, right, to help drive alignment, because we didn't have any of that. We had marketing team doing their thing, and sales team, a couple of people on the sales side doing their thing, and customer success doing their thing. But again, people had different definitions for things that were, that went by the same name. People were getting data and making decisions based off of a variety of different reports. And so no one was on really the same page. And to your point on the fast eating the slow, not the big eating the small, one of the things that I did was just start to try something, right? So rather than put a whole lot of thought into what some process can look like and spending weeks trying to do that, I was like, all right, we're just going to start with something. Next week we're going to start with these meetings, right? And I just kind of iterated from there. But yeah, whether you want to call it an operating cadence, I called it an operating rhythm, just something that people can come to expect every single week, week in, week out, that can help you drive that alignment. So talk a little bit about kind of what the cadence means to you, how you set it up at Spiff, how you all approach things like that.
Yeah, at Spiff, we, Matt, I love that you talked about the operating rhythm. We call it rhythm of the business is what our CRO calls it. So look, when you think about an operating cadence, the role of RevOps is to support. I report in our CRO. So the role of RevOps is to support your CRO and what metrics are important for them to understand where the business is at any given moment. But then also, enabling and supporting your frontline managers as to what to expect week over week is also very important. So that way, they can begin the week with managing to certain metrics and expectations. So by the time that forecast meeting arrives, everybody is informed and on the same page. So it's really not only an operating rhythm, I also just think it's your responsibility to be the glue as to what metrics everybody looks at any given moment. So here's an example of ours. On every Monday morning, we're on a forecast meeting with our frontline sales leaders. Then there's an executive forecast review the following day. Then there are forecast meetings at the end of the week for the next week. And then underneath that, there are kind of subsets of the reports that you need that we review weekly. So there's obviously your forecast reports. We review pipeline every other week, along with activity. And then also we have an audit dashboard. Most people, they call it some people call it the dirty dash. Some people call it the audit, the broken glass dash, whatever you want to call it. But it's just the things that you need to catch that are important for the business to know and understand. So you've got your core metrics. Then you've got your diagnostic metrics. Maybe that's attachment, maybe that's conversion rate, your win rate, maybe you're seeing an increase or a decrease in pipeline by a certain industry. So if you're looking to understand underneath one of those three categories, what's going on, either up, down, or sideways, you want to have that list of secondary metrics available. The third thing that's a part of our operating cadence is just some of that cross-functional reinforcement. So every other week we have an operations call where the objective is to share with our stakeholders what's coming out and to get final sign-off. I like to get people's fingerprints on everything, whatever that is. So that way, when we release it, people feel like they're aligned, and I feel like I've got the buy-in from the stakeholders that we need for something to be successful. And then obviously on every other week that we don't have an operations call, we have a pipeline call. And then ongoing reinforcement, we have our all hands calls. We've got enablement 2 to 3 times a month. And then frequent leaderboards being sent out. And then, underneath this, there's some of those cross-functional fabric that you want to consider. One of them is like partner account mapping. So if your compensation plan is, like I mentioned in the example before, is incentivizing business with a certain partner, you want to make sure that everyone kind of understands the expectations of when to work with that partner. The other thing I'll also share that has been really helpful for us, and it's kind of nestled in the screenshot, is working with your post-sales team to not only have the right information to hand off, but also, any sort of like early warning system that they might need. So if there's a really big deal coming through and you know that at your like evaluation stage, there is a specific likelihood of winning that deal, you'll want to start to inform your stakeholders that something's coming down the line earlier than later. It's a good problem to have, but it also just helps with that cross-functional alignment. Like I said, data at your fingertips to inform the business. So I hope that's helpful. There are several kind of motions that you constantly run at any given moment to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess a couple of questions just to reiterate things. So in terms of the types of meetings and frequency of those that you have, you mentioned sounds like every Monday you have every week on Monday you have like an operations like a RevOps kind of meeting. Does that include leaders from sales, marketing, CS? Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. So we have every other week we've got an operations call. On the weeks where we don't have an operations call, we have a pipeline call just so we can.
Okay, so you alternate them there. Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
For the call it the reporting, so obviously I see stuff in here is looks like it's pulled from a spreadsheet. Do you have Google Sheets, spreadsheets that you use for those meetings? Do you leverage reports in Salesforce or your BI tool? Like what are you tactically using for those? And then are you the one who updates everything, or do department heads or owners kind of update things?
Yeah. So a couple thoughts on that. So in that second screenshot where you see forecast pipeline activity, that column C is actually where the data lives. So I can also keep track. But I'll give you an example, Matt. On our forecast calls, we're a very happy Clary customer. And so there's a motion around Clary that, reps update their forecasts. Obviously, the managers will then update their manager forecast, and then that rolls up to our CRO. So like everybody is in Clary to update their forecasts. Obviously, there's some other reporting in there that's available as well, but we try to stay in either a forecasting tool or our CRM as our primary source of truth. Yep.
Yeah, makes sense. And I know in my past kind of role that I was speaking to, I know we had we stacked a lot of our like department specific meetings at the beginning of the week. So Mondays, Tuesdays, we had them broken down between kind of sales, marketing, and post sales, but made sure that there were reps from each of those departments at all of those meetings. And then we had just kind of we were like, hey, rather than need some fancy tool or some new system to do something, we're like, let's start by throwing stuff in a spreadsheet, and we kind of just iterated from there. Even on the meetings, right? Like the thing, for folks who, may have an existing process in place for their operating cadence, or maybe not, and you're looking to get one set up. Like just keep in mind, it's going to sound obvious. You can change calendar invites. You can delete them, right? So like, if you try something for a few weeks and you realize like, hey, this is overkill, like we don't need to be meeting this frequently to be talking about these same things, you can adjust that invite, and no one is going to care. You can also go the other direction. So yeah, just keep in mind, like even at RevOps Co-op, we play around a lot with like the cadence of our meetings, and we've gone from hour-long discussions down to 15-minute discussions up to 30-minute chats every week, every other week, whatever it might be. So yeah, feel free to just get started and get moving on that. And so to move on from the operating cadence, the other thing, we kind of talked about this before with whether it's like a new tool, whether it's a new integration, you name it, right? RevOps is going to have a lot of projects they're managing. You even shared your first kind of story on what kind of piqued your interest on moving from like the enablement side into kind of the ops side. So talk a little bit about project management and how to run a successful project, and the types of project plans and things that you kind of leverage to make sure that the things at least that you're responsible for are in fact successful.
Yeah, I think so from a project management perspective, I think the ultimate goal is a couple things. Like one, you want alignment across the organization around what the project is and what it's trying to achieve. And then two, depending on how your organization is structured, if there is a big change around data, maybe your win-loss reasons, maybe there's a segmentation change, maybe there's a kind of a structural change in your sales process. You need a vehicle to inform your stakeholders around what the change is and make that really nice and clear. So, here at Spiff, we have an awesome BI team. Part of the reason that's motivating me not only to have a plan on a page is for my own team, but also so I can be a really good partner with our cross-functional kind of partners as well. So the plan on a page is a very important thing. One, you want to outline current state. You want to bring together any sort of existing documentation. This plan that you see in front of you is a plan to optimize our internal RFP tool. So we bought a tool, it was ready for another iteration. And so I wanted to get all of our stakeholders aligned. So any existing documentation training, you want to really be clear on the gaps and what your objectives are. You want to increase your match rate. You want to, think about who the stakeholders are and who's responsible for maintaining the tool. And then also some of the key outcomes. And this is really helpful because it grounds everybody in the meeting to what exactly needs to get done in order for us to move forward to the next step. So I'm a really big believer in this. I just got off of a meeting this morning to start to kind of champion this more throughout the organization as we take on bigger projects. But this isn't necessarily like a walk in the park to put together when you're really, really busy, but it is very helpful, not only for your current and future team to have. So yeah, hope that was helpful.
Yeah, and I think the plan on a page is a great example. It's also a good way to just simplify things, right? Because as we all know, if you can make any kind of project plan like this much more than one page, but get it all on one page, summarize like you said. I think the other thing that I'll mention, which again I'll say is the like the post-mortem that you have is like just make sure that you do those. Like I will be the first one to admit that like you never want to do those. Like I never feel like doing it. It's like, hey, like we've gotten through it, like the project is done, like we've done this thing, like I just don't want to talk about it anymore. But spend 30 minutes, get the crew together, and just like document your learnings, like hear the the feedback that you have from other folks, because at the end of the day, like that's what's going to allow you to hopefully eliminate any roadblocks, challenges for the next thing that comes up. And there will always be a next thing, and that's the best way to get that learning. And so do those quickly. Again, understand that you and everyone else on the project team may not want to do them, but they are really, really important and super valuable.
I'll say we're also in a remote world where you're launching a complex initiative. We're big survey people here at Spiff. Like just, after a training at the 30-day mark, at the 60-day mark, at the 90-day mark, it really helps you understand and manage expectations around a project as well. When we launch a project, I will schedule the postmortems right away. So like our leaders know it's coming. They're able to, plan for that project. And Matt, to your point, it just helps you close the door and move on to the next thing.
Yep. Yep. All right. So talked about kind of project management a little bit now. Again, this whole discussion has been to be how RevOps is more than just kind of tools, systems, and data. So on the agile side, we've brought it up a lot, strong bias for action. The fast leads to slow, creativity will win. I know you've got some examples here on how you've kind of stayed agile as well. So why don't you kind of share your stories around these things and how you've leveraged them to provide value at Spiff.
For sure. So a couple things. I was hearing from our frontline managers that they wanted early visibility into onboarding performance. So I define onboarding as like you're in training, but then you're like offboarding from the onboarding into the actual role, and then you're in the actual role. And so the more that you could do to give your managers early visibility outside of your enablement infrastructure is a very powerful thing. And so I'm a big fan of conversational intelligence. So basically, what we do is we leverage some of our conversational intelligence and like some of the specific metrics that they offer as an informational tool for our frontline managers to coach. So especially in a remote world, especially if you've got an inside sales organization, that is a powerful tool to measure the effectiveness of your onboarding. The second thing I'll say is something that we're often tasked with after we release a new product is how are we doing? Like, what's our product attachment? Like, what's the consumer confidence level around everyone's ability to effectively communicate the value of the product on a customer-facing call. And so when you leverage your conversational intelligence as a key performance indicator for a product attachment, you will be richer for it, I promise. And so, I'll give you right in front of you is a little bit of an anonymized example, but for one of our products, I was able to pull in our conversational intelligence and where it was being mentioned by stage. So that informs me to go back to a go-to-market meeting and say, hey, everybody, we were planning for maybe this motion, maybe pitching this product at the top of the call. But what we're actually seeing is more mentions around the middle of the funnel. So how do we weave this into some of our, content or conversations, maybe during a group demo or whatnot. So it allows you to more effectively pivot and make better decisions for whatever project you have at hand. So this report in front of you is one of my personal favorites. I've been using it for years, but it'll give you a lot of kind of leading indicators for whatever project you have at hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I think overall the conversational intelligence tool that folks have, I know I'll be the first to admit, like in my experience with this, we, a lot of times, we talked about it before, like, don't forget about the team and like the fact that you have an end user and that, like, again, these tools are generating data that should help you make decisions. Conversational intelligence, I think, is one of those things where it's really easy to have a last mile sort of problem where you're like, hey, we need Gong, we need Chorus, we need something to help us like with call recording and all the insights that can come from these sales conversations that we're having. And so you go out and you pay the $1,200 a year, $1,500 a year per person for a tool like Gong, and then you deploy it and it starts to record all your conversations, and then that's it. Then they sit there, and you the sales managers and directors might go in there every now and then to listen to calls. You might use the recordings, right? But like that's not what those tools are made to do. Like leverage the intelligence aspect, right? Not just like if you need something to record your calls, like use Zoom to do that, right? And yeah, they can provide huge amounts of value by, like I said, finishing up with the last mile, like leverage the data that's there, build the reports, build out the templates, like just dive in and like get rolling with it. And I guarantee, and like you can probably speak to this too, Melody, like the things that you start using your conversational intelligence tool for will just be the tip of the iceberg, that you're probably like, oh hey, like I was able to do this with Gong. Like, okay, well, what if I could do like this other thing? Like, oh yeah, I can do that too. And you'll just start to see tremendous amounts of value.
I totally agree. And Stephanie, you just made the message of the win-loss screen in your conversational intelligence tool. I love that. Like win-loss data went from weeks to minutes. And so, yes, your win-loss, I think when you're releasing a new product, testing out early messaging, you want to understand. So in a deal board, you could see how certain contacts are engaging in your deals. And then that goes back to inform either your sales strategy, your messaging strategy, back to product. It's a wealth of information that really helps you move quickly and respond to the market conditions. I'm a really big fan of any sort of deal board. I know there's a lot of technology that kind of offers this these days, but you can see frequently mentioned topics. So maybe that's a partner or a product or a specific keyword that you really want to hone in on with your team that requires them to turn on some of the active listening. You can also see successful email templates as well. That's really important for like maybe discovery handoff or later on down the funnel with IT and security. And then you can also see, coaching topics around being multi-threaded with different kind of stakeholders in the sale. So, I think the value prop around some of these deal boards is just so true. It gives you the truth and it allows a manager to navigate accordingly. We can also use this for any sort of forecasting method as well. So, if you look at the opportunity and you see that, pricing hasn't been mentioned, or if you look at maybe the C-level person that is on the thread in this deal board is, maybe a silent listener, that is a roadblock or a flag that you want to elevate in the forecasting meeting around not having C-level support. So these are really great just for any sort of playbook conversations, forecast management. I couldn't recommend it enough. It just helps you be really dangerous when supporting your team.
Yeah, that's awesome. And could not agree more. So the last kind of category, a few things we want to talk about are prioritizing your roadmap. And I think here you've got, the call out on kind of making the end user happy. But yeah, obviously like everyone in RevOps has a backlog, whether it's, formal or informal, right? You've got a backlog of things you need to work on, and you've got you got places to go, things you need to do, right? So talk about how you manage your own backlog, how you prioritize your roadmap, how you kind of get those things done, where you focus, and how you do that.
Yeah. So one of my early mentions is, making sure that your team has the best information to have a really great conversation on the phone with prospects or customers. And ultimately, the roadmap is a balance of what your organization needs now, what your organization needs in the future, and then also what your stakeholders need. So, I'll give you a couple examples of that. We're taking a look currently at some of our pre to post sales handoff because there's been a lot of changes in our product. There's been some, process changes that we need to kind of reconsider. So that is really great for the customer, right? That's ultimately for the customer experience. I think, general feedback from the team, I'm always surveying, always auditing, and then always thinking about what the organization is going to need in the future. And so it's some combination of those three. I'll also share that something I've recently done is on our roadmap, I will tag everything based on the life cycle stage. So it says top of funnel, middle of funnel, or bottom of funnel as well. And ultimately, prioritizing the end user is number one. And then it kind of goes back into like what the organization needs, current, future, that now obviously, aligns to a performance goal as well. So you just have to calibrate multiple thoughts and work with your C-level stakeholders to make that call.
Yep. And do you have, we talked about the operating cadence before, is like the RevOps roadmap and like the backlog and the things that you're working on, does that do you have separate meetings at all with your kind of stakeholders on that? Is that part of, those biweekly kind of syncs? Like, how do you review those things and stay aligned with people there?
Yeah, so I've got all of the project management things, but Matt, specifically for your question, I have a document that has the big rocks, like the absolute things that we need to get done to ensure our organization is supported in the future. And so that's everything from, any sort of architecture change in Salesforce, that's anything around value engineering, operational documentation, supporting the customer, playbooks. And, it's actually just, it's something that we are always chatting through and always reprioritizing every quarter. So yeah, I've got the big rocks document that I manage too as well.
Yeah. 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 And that's I know that's the same thing that I've done in terms of document, make the roadmap, make the backlog public, let everyone be able to see it. Right. Tag things, bucket things so that they kind of align with the things your stakeholders would care about, right? Top of funnel, mid funnel, post sales, things like that. And then play around with frequency of meetings, right? Like how long, how often you need to meet with people to review the backlog, make sure that everybody's getting taken care of. Last thing I think that we have here on the roadmap kind of side are some information, some templates, some examples basically of these kind of project management boards and things that you have. So speak a little bit to this.
Yeah. So obviously, part of the planning process is informing your stakeholders around what's happening and when. So, Matt, to your early mention around the backlog, I have a column in our Asana dashboard or our Asana board for requests. So when request gets prioritized and gets moved to the quarterly prioritization, I pull from that pool. So I'm always, anytime I'm in a meeting or I have an idea or something comes up, I always document it in the requests column. That board is public to everybody. So they are aware that I'm aware of some of the things that they'll need. But I have kind of three things that I always keep in the back of my pocket. I have a general calendar of what's happening and when. This is really helpful when you're turning over to a new quarter. You've got your end of quarter checklist, and maybe that requires some changes in your CRM or some kind of meetings with your sales organization. It's helpful for leaders to kind of have one view. I've got our projects and priorities, which is kind of the tabs you see on the right side of your screen here. And then obviously, any sort of content request for additional training, we have a separate board for that as well. I send out a newsletter as needed, maybe once or twice a month, called Quick Hits. And that's basically, rolls up to the things you need to know / some of the tactical things that align to a priority that doesn't call for everyone's time. So, if we're focused on outbound activity, I'll lob a bunch of how-tos in that Quick Hits newsletter. So we keep track of a lot of the stuff that feeds that newsletter in the enablement kind of content board here. So I'm always kind of thinking of supporting the organization, up, down, and sideways. And these boards are my single source of truth to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes tons of sense. And I think a lot of the things that I kind of see here and just, I guess, general themes from some of the things that you brought up before are documentation for a lot of things is critical, right? Like on the project management board, I know, you mentioned Asana, right? I'm sure you probably get, tons of those called those requests over Slack. A tool like Asana has a great Slack integration where you can easily add create a new ticket, a new item, add it to any board directly from Slack. So do things like that so that you can keep track of everything and make sure that you're transparent with everything that's out there as well, right? Give people access, communicate things to them, because no one's going to be able to come back and say that they didn't know about something, right? Because you'd be well, did you see the newsletter that I sent out? Do you look at the Asana board that we had? Do you show up at these bi-weekly meetings that we have, right? The more that you can over communicate, the more that you can document, just the more that everyone will be on the same page and that everyone will be aligned. And so I guess with that, Melody, like any we're in the last kind of couple of minutes here before the top of the hour. Any closing kind of closing remarks that you want to leave people with? I mean, we talked, again, the purpose of the discussion today was how RevOps can go beyond beyond data, beyond tools, beyond systems. We talked about project management. We talked about operating rhythm, operating cadence. We talked about how you can drive kind of business outcomes with your technical aptitude, all this other stuff that you have. But any kind of closing thoughts or closing remarks that we want to leave the crew with here today?
Yeah. There was some dialogue in the chat here around like if there was a course on RevOps. So I thought, maybe I could touch on that for my closing remarks here. And I think, look, I'm someone that really learns a ton on the job. And so, make sure you're carving out your week to listen to your stakeholders, build relationships with your stakeholders, understand what's top of mind for them, why it's top of mind for them. That is the ultimate masterclass. So, making sure you're taking advantage of all of the wonderful resources on the co-op is great as well. So, making sure that you're thinking about, how to support your marketing team, how to support your sales team, how to support your customer operations team and beyond. So that way, ultimately your goal is to solve problems to, make the business stronger. So carve out time for your week for your own learning is the point of that little monologue there.
Yeah.
You will be richer for it.
Yeah. And I agree. I think there's certainly formal courses and things that that you can kind of take to level up, right? We've got a bunch of courses through RevOps Co-op that we offer. You can go out, read a bunch of literature stuff you can find online, tons of things that you can do. But yeah, like some other things you can do are, stretch yourself, right? Go outside of your comfort zone, volunteer for that project that wouldn't otherwise have your name on it. Put yourself in the shoes of the head of marketing, the head of sales. Do those things on the job. That's the best way to learn is like just dive into the deep end, right? And start doing it and give it a try. So yeah, I love that. All right, so we are at time, basically at top of the hour. I want to thank everybody here who attended. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for providing kind of questions, comments, thoughts, feedback as well. Melody, thank you very much for kind of dropping some knowledge on us, everything from revenue operations to how to dry age salami. Really appreciate that. We're gonna have to do a whole nother episode at some point on the salami stuff. But yeah, really appreciate your thoughts and all the expertise you dropped today. So with that, I'll let you all run. Thank you again for attending, and we will see you all on the flip side. So take care.
Thank you.